for some reason, whatever, it possessed me that I wanted to play Dragon Age Inquisition in other languages. For those of you who don't know, there is a French and German voiceover option for Dragon Age Inquisition, and it's a big pain in the butt. You honestly have to reinstall the game using the German language, rip out the files, and then put it back. I'm not a huge fan. But anyway, a lot of people on Reddit coached me through it. Thank you very much to Moondragon Lady. Shout out to you. So this episode's kind of dedicated, to talking about the different voiceover options and just kind of talking about it. And I have clips lined up of all the major characters, and hopefully we can just kind of chill out, listen to some voice actors, and make fun of people.
I'm super excited for this. Honestly, it's kind of weird that I'm so excited, but it was your idea, but I gotta say I'm super hyped for it. I've been thinking about it since yesterday. I'm like, oh, we're gonna do the language one. I don't know if I've overhyped it in my head, but I've always thought that that's an interesting idea. Never done it for Dragon Age or Mass Effect, but I did do it. As I mentioned when we were talking about this idea, I did do it for Assassin's Creed Unity. Mm-hmm. Because that is, of course, a game set during the French Revolution for that Assassin's Creed time period. And I just kind of thought, well, like, it's set during the French Revolution. How much sense would it make, to just have it in French? Mm-hmm. And I found that to be a pretty enjoyable experience as well. So, yeah, I think different language. I was going to say foreign language, but people listen to us all over the place. So
yeah, really.
It's not foreign, but just different, other than English, which is what you and I are experts on.
So I also want to have like a big asterisk on this episode because the voiceover languages other than English are French and German. I don't know about you, Jordan, but I don't speak either of those. I don't think you do either.
Same, yeah.
My husband Michael, he speaks a fair amount of German. I made him listen to it, and he had a whole slew of things to say about like the quality of the acting and stuff. And I also was talking to people on Twitter about it. So yeah, thank you to like Sina Candelia, I think is pronounced, Como Text, Corna Bustet, Dirth Enna. Like there's a whole bunch of people. I can't possibly name you all and I apologize. But so many people replied giving me their opinions on the French and the German voiceover. And kind of the consensus on both is that everyone likes the English one better.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. A couple things to note about both the French and the German version is some of the acting isn't great. Some of it's kind of wooden when you actually know what they're saying. And you know how like the English version, each character has like a little bit of an accent depending on where they're from that isn't present on either French or German.
Okay. All right.
So everyone kind of sounds a little bit similar. There was a couple of people on Twitter saying that they didn't even know like someone was supposed to be from Orlais until they, played the English version. It was like, oh, they have an Orlesian accent. There is an Orlesian accent. Oh my gosh.
Right. That's interesting. I never thought about that.
Mm-hmm. And another fun fact in playing with the French and German version, if you play as, whatever version, the like the grunts sounds are always going to be the English voice actors. So that's kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, okay. With that, without further ado, let's actually listen to some voice clips. Jordan, I have so many people. I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to just like play a random one and you can guess who it is? Or do you just want to say, let's listen to all of the voice clips of Solus or one of the Inquisitors? How do you want to play this out?
It would be fun to do one guess one, right? I don't want to do everyone where I'm guessing, but let's try and give me one that you think might be fairly easy for me to get. And I'm probably still not going to get it, but
okay. Trying to think of who would be best. Okay, I think this one would be the best.
Are you going to give me French or German or both?
Let's do German. So this is a German. Who is talking?
Ich hätte einen Griffin vorgeschlagen, aber sie sind bedauerlicherweise ausgestorben. Doch, Scherz beiseite. Das richtige Auftreten ist wichtig.
Based on the cadence, I'm going to go with Dorian.
Okay. Why Dorian?
Just like based on the cadence, right? Dorian has a certain way of speaking where he kind of, his pauses they're like, there's like a nice ebb and flow to it. He kind of rolls in and out of his pauses, and it sounds like that to me.
Would it help to have a translation? Because it's not Dorian.
Cole?
Mm-mm.
Jesus. Solus.
Yes, this is a Solus
Okay.
German voice actor. I think this is a terrible pick for Solus. I don't know about you.
It's a little like airy. That's kind of why I went with Dorian, because it's a little more like, I feel like Solus has more gravitas. He's it's not a deep voice per se, but the nature of his character. Well, see, that's the thing, right? Acting is a very subtle art form, and what I'm hearing now, it's not invalid if that's the choice that you choose to make. Like, as an actor, you decide that his voice would have that flow to it. But I'm totally cemented into what the original, the American, the English voice actor, the choices that they made. Not just the language, but the choices that they made as an actor.
Now, I will say, Como TXT on Twitter let me know that she or he, I don't actually know the gender, can't take German Solus seriously because his German voice actor is also the voice for Leonard in The Big Bang Theory.
Interesting.
So that's fun. But on the other hand, let's hear French Solus.
Un griffon serait parfait. Mais hélas, ils sont éteints. Plus sérieusement, la forme est aussi importante que le fond.
Isn't that like completely different?
Okay, so I'm gonna sound like a total, like, this is like such a crap. Like, now I could say that totally sounds like Solus, right? Like, if you would have played the French one, I would have gotten it, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's true, but to me, that one, like, again, I hone in on the cadence of it. Like, the pauses to me feel more like Solus. I could be thinking that now because now I know, but there's something about the certainty of the pauses to me that's indicative of Solus.
I will say, so the way I'm playing this program is really wonky, but currently it's open in Adobe Premiere for me, and like the actual wave lines is the exact same as English Solus, which I also have pulled up, versus the German Solus has it like it looks completely different. So they captured pretty much the same cadence, I believe.
Okay.
So, here's another one that kind of surprised me. This one, again, from the German version. I'll let you try to guess who this is.
Willkommen auf der erhabenen Ebene, einem Ort mit einer langen und blutigen Geschichte.
Who was that?
Oh, Jesus, that was it?
That was it, yeah.
I have no fucking clue. Can I have it one more time?
Yeah.
Willkommen auf der erhabenen Ebene, einem Ort mit einer langen und blutigen Geschichte.
Can I have the French one as well and then guess?
Yes.
Bienvenue dans la plaine exaltée, riche d'une histoire aussi longue que sanglante.
I will say that on all of the clips, minus some of the Inquisitor ones, they're all saying the same thing for each clip. So...
This one, I feel like the French and German feel like way apart, and that's confusing to me. God, I have virtually no clue. Like, I feel like the German one could have been Sarah and the French one could have been Cassandra. Like, I have no idea.
Okay, here's the English one.
Welcome to the Exalted Plains, a place with a long and bloody history.
Ah, okay. So, that makes sense to me for the French one, but I don't know. The German one doesn't sound like anybody. It definitely doesn't sound like Harding.
Yeah, here's like at the tail end real quick. She just sounds so high-pitched.
Einem Ort mit einer langen und blutigen Geschichte.
She just sounds like a child.
Yeah, it's weird. That one's really weird. I'm not a fan of the German one for Harding there.
It's really weird. So I think with some of the fun guesses out of the way, I think we can all say for sure, at least some of the people on Twitter and then me, the English voiceover is better. It just is. So I think what we decide today, which is better, German or French, based on our limited knowledge.
Ooh, yeah, especially considering I'm so inclined to like the French. It just sounds better to my ear. Mm-hmm. I can tell I'm going to be super biased in this. Also, more French cinema than German for me.
See, I already have a bias towards Germany, actually having heard them. So let's see if this changes. Now let's pretend we're playing the game. Let's start out with picking your Inquisitor. Do you want to play male or female?
Male.
Male? Okay, let's get your voice options here. So, I will say for the picking out the clips, that I had the subtitles on so I could make sure I picked the same one. With the Inquisitor ones, I just did the one in the when you're making his face, and those don't have subtitles. So I think I roughly got what they're saying the same thing, but I don't really know. Anyway.
Tant que nous mettons fin à cette guerre, je me fiche du reste.
Was genau wird es mich kosten?
So which one do you think sounded better for that? Or do you want to play the second voice option too?
Yeah, let's try the second voice option.
Okay.
Tant que nous mettons fin à cette guerre, je me fiche du reste.
Was genau wird es mich kosten?
I feel like there's not nearly as much distinction between those four or those two and the American one.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, these don't have any differences for accents, so the differences that they made it is a high pitch and a low pitch, and that's really about it.
But even the pitch difference isn't huge. I like the second group more, and between the two of them, I'd probably go French.
Really? I liked the German one better.
The German one is good, especially on the second person.
Yeah. Here, let's play the second person again.
Tant que nous mettons fin à cette guerre, je me fiche du reste.
Was genau wird es mich kosten?
Well, I don't know. I guess again, it totally depends on roleplay, but like the German person sounds a little more neutral, whereas the French sounds more like if you were playing, like, I don't know if it would work for a dwarf necessarily. It sounds slightly more, I don't know, posh is probably not the right word, but
I guess I kind of liked that, so that's why I liked it.
The German one I think sounds like more neutral, which I think is probably good for roleplay.
So from there, let's go on to the first few people we see. So let's do some Cassandra.
Donnez-moi une raison de ne pas vous tuer sur le champ. Le conclave est détruit. Tous ceux qui étaient présents sont morts.
Now, just that, I think that sounds a lot like Cassandra already.
I was right about to say it, especially that. I assume that's right. Or as I said early in the game, she's talking about the conclave and the enclave, and it sounds like that moment of like urgency for her. That sounds a lot like it pulls from the I don't know if that person actually listened to the American version first.
It's pretty clear. Here's the German one.
Nennt mir einen Grund, warum wir euch nicht auf der Stelle töten sollten. Das Konklave ist vernichtet. Alle, die ihm beiwohnten, sind tot.
Now, if you noticed on that, there's actually an audio error in that. And no matter how many times I tried to record it, it kept happening. For some reason, the first half of her sentence blends into the second one, and I have no idea why. So I thought I'd keep it as an interesting fun fact. But I will say that this clip, I do think the German Cassandra is really good, but I kind of want to give it to the French one in this. What do you think?
Interesting. And also, are we keeping an exact tally of how many ones we choose, or no?
Yeah, let's do that. I already have this all listed down because I made a checklist. So let me grab a marker real quick to take account. So, all right. With the voice one, did we choose which one we liked better? Like
I went with. So we should probably do like your score and my score, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll grab another marker.
So I went French on the male voice.
Okay, you went French on the male voice. I went German. So, all right. What do you think of Cassandra, though?
I'm also going French on this one.
Okay. I guess I have a red and a blue marker, so I'll be. So, and then I guess let's. What about some Liliana? That's a good one because you meet her at the very beginning too.
Vous vous souvenez de ce qu'il s'est passé? Comment ça a commencé? Erinnert ihr euch, was geschehen ist? Wie das alles begann?
Like, I think we have to give it to the French one, because Liliana, you think of French people, right?
You're having that slight Orlesian bent. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know, listening to the German one, it just doesn't sound quite right to me. Maybe it's just, I'm just so used to the French accent. What do you think?
Could be. I mean, it could be, right? That's kind of what we associate with her English language voice.
Erinnert ihr euch, was geschehen ist? Wie das alles begann?
She sounds a bit younger to me. I don't know about you.
A little bit, yeah.
Maybe that's what is bothering me about it. She sounds a little bit younger.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you thinking? Which way?
I would go French.
I'm inclined to agree with you on this one. Man, I better pick some German at some point.
That's all right. Let's do some of the advisors now. I have these grouped up into advisors and then companions. Let's just like go all the way through for advisors.
All right.
This is Cullen.
Soyons réalistes. Il nous aurait censurés de toute façon.
I hate that voice. It sounds like what the voice you would use for like a fake Napoleon or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking about it. What do you think?
It doesn't sound like Cullen, right? Like I think Cullen unfortunately is I don't know, you're right. That just doesn't sound like it has the forcefulness of Cullen or the smoothness of it. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like Cullen.
Like Cullen's original voice actor, I think like smooth but also firm. That one's just pure grit. Like it sounds like this guy gargled like marbles or something. I don't know. Okay, here's the German one.
Seien wir doch mal ehrlich. Sie hätten uns so oder so geächtet.
I think that's closer.
Yeah, that's way better in this case to me. Like I could actually buy that as being Cullen.
All right, let's do Josephine.
Malheureusement, les deux groupes refusent encore de nous adresser la parole.
That's French.
Dummerweise würde im Moment keine der beiden Gruppen mit uns reden.
And then German.
To me, she sounds older with the German one a bit. Maybe.
Dummerweise würde im Moment keine der beiden Gruppen mit uns reden.
A little bit, yeah. She does seem older.
It's pretty firm, yeah.
I really don't like either of them, to be honest, because I'm just so used to that Antivan accent, and this just sounds like so generic to me.
Neither one of them really strikes me as being Josie, but I can't in all honesty pick the German one. I'd have to go French, but I'm not a fan of the French one either.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to agree with you. Here, let me hear that again.
Malheureusement, les deux groupes refusent encore de nous adresser la parole.
Yeah, I guess.
It does not sound like Josephine, even the French one, but the German one just throws me off.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put like an X through it, like we picked it, but we're regretting about it.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, that one's not hot. Okay, let's we did Cassandra, so let's go back onto some warriors. This one is Iron Bull. Now he has some interesting stuff to talk about, so let's just hear him real quick.
À ce propos, quand vous aurez une minute, il faut que je vous montre un truc.
Und wo wir gerade davon sprechen, wenn ihr einen Moment Zeit habt, würde ich euch gerne etwas zeigen.
See, I really like his German one a lot better.
I was gonna say that German one sounds like Bull for sure. Like the French one sounds like it's just like generic, sort of deeper, tough guy French, and that German one sounds like Bull to me.
Exactly. Even what the interesting thing is, so Iron Bull, he calls you boss, and then as kind of a pun at the end of the game, if he wants to go against you, he calls you boss, which is the Canary word for not a Canary, essentially. So it's kind of like he's been calling you boss the entire time, but it's also boss, and haha, isn't that interesting? But in the translation for French, he calls you chief, and that doesn't work. But in German, he still calls you boss, so that pun is kept.
Huh, okay.
So, fun facts about that. Unless for some reason they changed it at the very end of Trespasser. I didn't play through Trespasser with this voice, but at least in the limited experience, that was this. So yeah, I think overall, Bull is better with German in this case.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that one for the German.
Yeah. All right, let's do Blackwall.
On va pouvoir voir venir Corypheus à des kilomètres.
Wir werden Korypheus schon meilenweit kommen sehen.
And they're both terrible.
They're not good. They're definitely not good. Can I have the French one again?
Yes.
On va pouvoir voir venir Corypheus à des kilomètres.
There's a little bit of Blackwall in there. It's not great, but there's a little bit of his, I don't know.
To me, Blackwall is like a low... Here, we can even listen to the English version.
We'll be able to see Corypheus coming from miles away.
It's low. It's really low and kind of gritty. And out of the two of those, the French gets there the closest, but the German is so high-pitched. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, there's also something about Blackwall where his voice feels both relaxed and has a drawl to it, but it's strained at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's really unique. It has this easygoing drawl, but at the same time, there's something strained about it.
And I think the French I don't know, it's not quite there. but it's better than the German.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree that that's similar, right? It's the French. It is French, but it's not by a lot.
Yeah. Now I think this one's going to be hard. This is Varric.
Bon. Maintenant que Cassandra ne nous entend plus, vous vous sentez comment?
So, jetzt wo Cassandra außer Hörweite ist, geht es euch gut?
Holy moly, I feel like that one should have been Blackwall for the German.
Right?
What the hell? That's so weird.
I kind of love it, though.
I don't think it fits for Varric, but I do like it. I think it's like better objectively if we weren't trying to match it to the character, but I do think that between these two, the French is more Varric.
Oh, dang, you're right. Oh.
But that German one is good, though. Whoever that was, like, they're talented.
I love them, but yeah, I think... Here, I want to hear that French again.
Bon. Maintenant que Cassandra ne nous entend plus, vous vous sentez comment?
Oh, yeah, you're right. That does sound more like Varric to me.
Yeah, it's got that, like, smoothness to it.
But I objectively like the Blackwall... not Blackwall?
Blackwall Varric?
Yeah, the Blackwall Varric. I like it.
Play that one again?
So, jetzt wo Cassandra außer Hörweite ist, geht es euch gut?
Dude, that could be fucking German Corypheus. Like, that's really, like, deep and resonant, and it's got, like, a real confidence to it. I really like that actor in general.
Actually, let's just cut to Corypheus real quick, because it might actually be the same guy. Okay, here's French Corypheus.
Vous avez réussi à déjouer mes plans, mais n'oublions pas ce que vous êtes.
That's the scariest Frenchman you've ever heard.
Well, here's the... Oh, I suddenly remembered the German one, and no, it's not the same guy. Hold on.
Ihr habt meine Pläne immer wieder erfolgreich vereitelt. Aber lasst uns dennoch nicht vergessen, was ihr seid.
That just sounds like a regular German. Sounds like Fusselkorn. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, when I played this for Michael, he started busting out laughing because he says this is the type of accent he would listen to on like how to learn German. So he says when he was listening to this, he thought he was like, "Hello, welcome to German 101."
Yeah, so that one's interesting. But no, for Varric, I definitely say I would go with the French one, even though that German one's really good.
Yeah, French. I'll circle French with the sad face. So what do you think of Corypheus then? I think the French one's better personally.
I gotta go with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that. Where did I put Corypheus on the channel? Oh, here he is. So yeah, even though I like the German better, French is so far winning. Let's jump back to where we were and do that. Okay, so let's listen to some Sarah.
Mes dieux. Peu importe. De toute façon, ils répondent pas plus qu'elle.
It's all right. That's French.
Meine Götter, auf die ist geschissen. Die sagen auch nicht mehr als sie.
I think the German one, Catch the Cadence, is better personally. I don't know about you.
It's close. I was gut instinct. I would say German. Can I have them one more time though?
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
Mes dieux. Peu importe. De toute façon, ils répondent pas plus qu'elle. Meine Götter, auf die ist geschissen. Die sagen auch nicht mehr als sie.
I guess I
gotta go German.
Yeah, I just like the way she has like almost a childish to her voice there that I think is a lot more Sarah than the other one does. The other one I think just sounds like a normal lady. I don't know how to just
it's a bit more generic. I think that's what we're finding is we're picking the ones that sort of have a little more to them that we recognize from the English language performance, whereas some of these other ones are not bad. Like if I had gone through and listened to that the whole time, like my first time through, it would be fine, but this is one instance where it's like, yeah, the French Sarah is not bad. It's just not a lot there. Whereas that German one, what I'm trying to do when I listen to him is I'm trying to picture the character, speaking, and something about it just resonates more with German Sarah.
Yeah. The one thing that, I don't know if it actually picks up in the language or not, but there's a lot of like slang that Sarah uses that like I feel like isn't there. Like, I was making Michael listen to some of the German stuff, and like when she says like friggin' and shite, and he was saying that like a German equivalent isn't quite there. So I think that's a lot of Sarah dialogue that kind of gets missed because her entire thing is that she talks weird, right?
That's true.
So if that's the case with Sarah, then she just completely changes in a dub then. So I don't know. Let's listen to Cole now. Okay, here's Cole.
Dars.
Tant de soldats se sont battus pour protéger les pèlerins et leur permettre de s'échapper.
I thought that was perfect. I don't know about you.
I completely agree. My first reaction was, holy shit, that's Cole.
Yeah, and then here's the German.
Haven. So viele Soldaten haben gekämpft, um die Pilger zu beschützen und ihnen die Möglichkeit zur Flucht zu geben.
Like, he's alright, I guess, but that French call is so spot on.
That one's close to me. I mean, I do think it's French, but I think that German one's pretty good, too. If I had to call it, though, I would call it French. But the German one, it just maybe sounds... Yeah, he doesn't, like, Cole has this thing about him where he's like, when you start to learn more about him, you're like, yeah, I could totally see how he's, you know, he's part spirit or part human. Like, there's something about that. It's not ethereal exactly, but there's something kind of, like, distant about him. And I don't know that the German one captures that, but it's good in its own right. If I had to pick, though, I'd say French.
I thought the German one sounded kind of nerdy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not bad. I was going to say younger, but you're right. Maybe nerdy could be it.
Yeah, like, if that was playing, like, I don't even know a character in Inquisition that could fit this, but like I don't know, like a younger student character, I thought that would fit. But yeah, the French Cole has this like wispiness to it that I think is like really needed for Cole.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like maybe not the acting, I have no idea, but at least in the way it sounds, I think French Cole is the closest to the English dub that you're going to get out of these lineup, is what I think.
Yeah,
but. Anyway, we did Solus, so we're gonna skip that guy. Let's do Vivian now.
Accepter les mauvais choix aveuglément n'est pas une vertu, Trésor.
Eine schlechte Wahl blind zu akzeptieren ist nicht viel besser, meine Liebe.
Ooh, I don't know. To me, that's close.
I'm not really fond of either, to be honest. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. Can we get the German one again?
Yes.
Eine schlechte Wahl blind zu akzeptieren ist nicht viel besser, meine Liebe.
I'm going German, man. Like, to me, it's not the best out of these as far as closeness to the character, but there's some pretty good, like, authority there that's sort of impatient. Do you know what I mean? Like, that, to me, is part of Viv.
Let me...
Accepter les mauvais choix aveuglément n'est pas une vertu, Trésor.
Yeah, there's this sharpness. Maybe it's because the German language. I don't know. But yeah, there's a sharpness to German Viv that I just don't see or hear, I guess, in the French one.
Or maybe French just always sounds impatient.
Maybe. I don't know. Okay, so, I didn't mark down. What was our consensus on Solus? Did we like the...
Oh, I don't know if we picked one.
Oh.
I guessed on him, but I don't know if we picked one.
I think we did French, because that was, the cadence was right for that.
Okay, yeah, I think that might be right, yeah.
All right, we'll do that one. Okay. Now, Dorian.
Vous vous battez pour restaurer l'ordre dans un monde envahi par le chaos. On est d'accord, c'est déjà une tâche assez conséquente.
Als wäre es nicht schon schwer genug, in einer Welt, die aus den Fugen geraten ist, zu versuchen, für Ordnung zu sorgen.
Oh, now, German.
Really?
Yeah, for me, that felt like definitely the German one.
Oh, I'm totally on the French one.
Oh, okay. Wait,
yeah.
Hold on. Let's get them both again. Like French, and then wait, and then do German.
Okay.
Vous vous battez pour restaurer l'ordre dans un monde envahi par le chaos. On est d'accord, c'est déjà une tâche assez conséquente.
It has this energy to it that really feels Dorian to me.
I was going to say, to me, it sounds a little too excited, which is, I know for some people, it's like, well, Dorian is pretty high energy, but like, I don't know, he's high energy, but also kind of like nonchalant.
Well, hold on, hear the English version.
One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes?
Like, it's kind of there in the English version.
I feel like both things are there, right? Like he's excited, but I don't know. I see him as being also kind of nonchalant, even when he's excited. The French one's good. I'm not saying it's not good. It definitely is. But man, can we get the German again?
Yeah, we can get the German one.
Als wäre es nicht schon schwer genug, in einer Welt, die aus den Fugen geraten ist, zu versuchen, für Ordnung zu sorgen.
Yeah, compared to the English, he's not nearly as amped up, but to me, that's also just like an acting choice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think I got to go German on this one.
Oh, we're splitting.
We're flipping back, and I said I was going to be all French.
No, I will say, I kind of felt bad picking this clip for German because I thought that a lot of the German Dorian gets a lot better the more you talk with him. So I almost like I feel like Dorian is the only character that has a consistently good voice no matter where you choose. And as far as Twitter, people were saying like, yeah, on both versions, Dorian's voice actor is really good. So I think Dorian came out with the VO unscathed. But yeah, I think they're both good. I just kind of like the French one better. I don't know. So
we're getting a good distinction here.
Yeah. Did we? Well, okay. Here's Creme. I picked Creme up.
Quelques nobles orlésiens se sont plaints de la tournure des événements au Palais d'Hiver.
Einige orlesianische Adlige sind über die Entwicklungen im Winterpalast alles andere als begeistert.
I guess I like Jennifer Hale so much I don't like any of them either.
Yeah, I'm really not a fan of either of these.
Yeah. Because like it really does sound like we know Creme is transgender man, so they got a woman to do like a man's voice. But I think Jennifer Hale just does such a good job compared to these two ladies.
It's so well done as to make it so. And this is how I would phrase this, right? Creme's voice is so well done in English language that it's ambiguous, but not to the point where it's distracting. Right? It's not like, oh, we're trying to make this sound androgynous or intentionally vague. Mm-hmm. It's ambiguous, but not bland, right? Creme has a distinctive voice, but not one that is easily gendered, and it's not binary. And so that makes it really successful given Creme's background.
Yeah.
On both of these, they just sound more female.
Let's just listen to Creme again, like English.
A few Orlesian nobles didn't like how things ended at the Winter Palace.
Like, that could really go either way, and it's
really
perfect. Does. It's perfect.
Perfect.
I know we're not voting on English, but I'm voting both of us.
No, we put a special exception, little asterisk mark, and just put Jen Hale. Like, that's
Jen
just
Hale.
like...
I love Jen Hale so much. Okay, gun to our head, French or German, though?
No, gun to my head, pull the trigger for Jen Hale.
I kind of agree, though. Like, I almost want to go with the German just because, like, German in general sounds harsher. But, like, even that.
It's like that. It's like one of those most interesting man in the world facts or something like that. But for Jen Hale, like, she's so good. She's so good at speaking English, she can win contests in German speaking English.
Kinda, yeah. I don't know, of all the voice actors to get that award, though, she deserves it because I love her so much.
100%.
Oh God! All right, I'm content with that. I'm not even gonna fight for it. Now we're back to Harding. Did we have who did we want to pick for Harding? Do you want to play those for you again?
Yeah, please.
Bienvenue dans la plaine exaltée, riche d'une histoire aussi longue que sanglante.
Willkommen auf der erhabenen Ebene, einem Ort mit einer langen und blutigen Geschichte.
I like have to go French because I think the German one sounds like she sucks some helium or something like that.
Yeah, the German one, I don't like the French one though at all, but I don't like the German one at all either. And it's just like compared to Ali Hillis, they both sound terrible. Mm-hmm. All due respect to those people, but like
I don't think the French is that bad. Like I think the English one has a lot more. It's a lot more interesting sounding.
It's a lot more character to it. Yeah, Ali Hillis brings so much character to that voice, where she sounds sort of like optimistic and sort of like upbeat, but also grounded and sort of like good at her job, right? Like a professional. Mm-hmm. Like she's young and she's curious, but she's also sort of tough and capable, which is like, man, I don't know how much direction they gave her on what that character is like, but when you talk about Scout Harding, it's like, that's exactly what that character should sound like, right? Like young and curious, but also like sturdy and capable because she's a scout, right? Like those are exactly the characteristics that she would have. And somehow if you just listen to her voice, you would go, yeah, that totally makes sense. She sounds like a scout.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the problem with all of these voices is that when you hear it all back to back, a lot of the female voices and then the male voices really blend together, and it's kind of like, unless like for a few exceptions, like French Cullen and like German Barrick, they really kind of blend in with one another. Maybe that's just me as a non-native speaker, but it's like really hard to tell some of these people apart.
Do you think? And this is interesting, right? Because we kind of got into a weird You went off on a weird tangent, a great weird tangent, by the way, on Sailor Moon earlier in our live stream, which we would have recorded, quote unquote, today. By the time people hear this episode, it'll be like a week from now. But do you think that exists with voice acting that comes from like Japan or Korea? Because here's my theory, right? Like, does more animation just come from America or Japan or Korea, and so therefore the voice acting community is sort of a little more robust, as opposed to in French and Germany, where they're not originating this stuff. They're mainly doing like localization for stuff that originated somewhere else.
Maybe, because so you're basically saying that there's just not a lot of people to do these voices.
There's not a lot of people, and it's not attracting the same level of talent. I'm sure there's just as talented, especially when it comes to France. I mean, French actors are really fucking good in a lot of like French movies and stuff like that. And also Germans. So like, there's certainly talent, but what I'm saying is like culturally, as an actor, because it used to be that way with American voiceovers as well. Like, animation and video game voiceover talent has grown so much in the past 20 or 30 years, to the point where like, that's something that someone who is, going to school and training to be an actor, they might choose that as their first choice. Like, honestly, like it's getting to the point where like people really are passionate about it. And I wonder if that just doesn't exist outside of America. But then I thought, well, it would probably exist in Japan, right? Because anime is huge there.
Maybe. I know very little about anime, unfortunately, other than Sailor Moon.
I
will say, though, I've been playing through The Witcher 1, which has been a slog a little bit. But the voice acting there is so bad compared to Witcher 3,
Well, for Witcher 1 especially, the English version of that game was, I don't want to call it an afterthought, but that was just not, they did not make it for English. They made it for Polish, and then they were like, oh, it's become so huge, we'll translate it for an English language, but that was not in scope for the original development.
But even like Geralt's voice, it's the same guy, but he does such a better job in the third one than the first one's a travesty.
I like certain don't get me wrong, it's rough in some spots. I still like Geralt in The Witcher 1. I think that maybe some of the direction that he got was he's emotionless. He doesn't just make it completely monotone, and then they needed to calibrate that for him a little bit.
I still hate
think
the voice in Witcher 1.
I think it definitely gets better in 2, but then in 3, like he gets it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. I will say it is perfect in 3. All right, let's. I have more. Okay. So I also got a whole bunch of like important side characters. So let's look at the Morrigan family. That's what I got. So you all know, well, there are some people who don't have Kieran. So let's listen to his English voice actor.
Mother never told me the Inquisitor was an elf.
So as a quick, if you don't know this, the person who voiced Kieran is actually Claudia Black, who's the voice of Morrigan's actual son. So I do hear like that almost genetic raspiness to the voice, and even if he's not the best actor, it sounds exactly like Morrigan's son would, and I love it. So with that in mind, here's the other two.
Mère ne m'avait pas dit que l'Inquisitrice était une elfe.
Mutter hat mir nie erzählt, dass ihr eine Elfin seid.
I think the French one definitely captures like that childish raspiness better than the German one.
I think that from that aspect it's true. I kind of lean German because I feel like the French kid sounds older.
I will say, here, let's listen to German again.
Mutter hat mir nie erzählt, dass ihr eine Elfin seid.
Yeah, she does sound... See, I this sounds like a woman doing a kid's voice to me, and I guess that's why I like the other one better, because it does sound like a male. Even though this is supposed to be a 10-year-old kid, and his voice wouldn't be that deep yet. But I guess that's why I like the French one, because it does sound like at least a little boy to me, even if it is a little bit older than what they're aiming for here. So what's your final call?
I think I'm gonna go German on this one.
All right. I'm still going French because I just I don't know. Sometimes it's the Witcher 3 does this terribly, where like the little girls all sound like grown women doing kid voices, and it's a little bit off-putting.
It's the kids in Witcher, including Witcher 3, are weird. Every child you run into is just fucking weird.
Yeah, and it sounds like a grown-ass woman doing a kid voice, but, like, not doing that great, so you're like, who are you?
Like, they are all caricatures, and you're right. It's almost like unapologetically like, yeah, kids are weird, so this is like a kid stand-in.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I kind of really like Kieran in Inquisition, because it's just an actual kid, and yeah, he doesn't have that many lines, and he's not the greatest actor, but, like, there's that emotional connection there with being, like, technically the voice actor for Morrigan's actual son, and, like, that's a lot cooler than anything else I could have done. I
loved it, and I've said this on a recent live stream where I said, to me, I like the fact that he sounds really unpolished, because I equated that to the same way that, like, sometimes kids sound a little nervous when they talk to adults.
Yeah.
Like, that's, to me, what I hear in his voice. Is like, it's perfect.
Now, let's also do Morrigan, and, I won't preempt it. Let's just listen.
Dire que jusqu'à récemment, cet endroit n'était qu'une ruine occupée par les perdus et les désespérés.
Wenn ich mir vorstelle, dass dieser Ort bis vor kurzem noch völlig heruntergekommen war, bewohnt allein von den Verzweifelten und Verlorenen.
German. For me, it's German again. I can't believe I'm picking so many Germans now, but I really think the Germans are bringing it.
Let me listen to the French again.
Dire que jusqu'à récemment.
Yeah, okay, no, yeah, it's a German.
She's doing it really high and like airy, and like it's almost. I almost feel like that could be like an approach for Liliana. Like the German one feels a little more gravity, and not sultry is not the word, but it's like dark and mysterious kind of.
Bewohnt allein von den Verzweifelten und Verlorenen.
She sounds older to me, though.
A bit, yeah, a bit.
Okay, I'm gonna have to agree with you, but I this almost goes into like the creme territory. Not as quiet, but I just really like Claudia Black so much, and like she does such a great job with Morrigan that I don't know. I don't really like the other ones.
I totally agree with how great Claudia Black is, right? And that's another one where if you're comparing it to Claudia Black, it's almost impossible. You really cannot compare. She did something incredible with Morrigan where she makes her sound like incredibly posh but ill-mannered.
Yeah.
Right? Like her voice is really like superior and uppity, but she lived in a swamp, and like even when she doesn't understand certain things about society outside of the Kokari Wild, I'm talking more about origins, but like even if you're talking to her about something she doesn't quite understand, and she's still dismissive of it, like she's still, even when she's ignorant, she's arrogant. It's crazy, but it fits. It doesn't come off as like uneducated. It's like it's a real type of superiority that it's there in the writing, but her voice is just perfect for it. She did something really unique with the voice where it sounds, like I said, posh, but also sort of a little rough around the edges at the same time.
Yeah. Here's the English clip I have of her.
To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost.
To me, like the way she worded that almost made me think like she's about to teach me a thing, you know? Like it's It is very like, let me like put you in your place. This is how this used to be. Isn't that interesting? You should think so, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe it's also in the verbiage, and that's just something where that's getting lost in translation. But I'll pick German, I guess, but begrudgingly. All right. Now we have Flemeth. This one I'm going to make you listen to the English version because I actually think it's kind of important.
Mother, daughter, grandson. It rather warms the heart, does it not?
La mère, la fille, le petit-fils. Ça vous réchauffe le cœur, n'est-ce pas?
Mutter, Tochter, Enkelsohn. Da wird einem doch ganz warm ums Herz, nicht wahr?
See, what I find so interesting is that Kate Mulgrew, who is great and cannot be beaten, no offense to anyone else, but she does like this very small laugh, whereas the French doesn't do that at all, but the German has like this weird belly laugh kind of thing going on. So I don't know what the deal is of like the choice of like not having it versus having it, but...
Yeah, I think that's just totally... I agree again with Mulgrew. Fantastic, but I like the German one quite a bit.
Yeah, I think of the two, I do like the German one better because I kind of like the laugh in there. Like the French one sounds a little bit bored to me.
The wine. I mean, I think the real key on that, and now like when I listen to these, I don't know if this has been true of all of them, but especially when I listen to this one, I have to imagine they were being played the English version because the wind up or the cadence of the naming the family members is clearly intended to be the same. Either that or they were given the same like line read or the same direction, but. You're right. That wind up, so to speak, in French just sounds a little more like rehearsed or practiced. I think there's just that's not necessarily a language thing. I don't know. I like the German actress a bit more than the French one.
Mm-hmm. I will also say that like maybe I can't hear it very well, but like the German and the French voice actresses sound a little bit younger than Flemeth would be, which it kind of throws me off a little bit. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, Kate Mulgrew's perfect, but so overall, are you choosing the German?
I am, yeah.
All right. I you know what? I'm gonna agree too. I'll pick German. So, with that, we just got the villains. So let's do some Samson.
De vrais soldats, des heures de marche et de combat, et toujours aussi féroces.
Ihr Bastarde! Ihr seid marschiert, habt gekämpft und seid immer noch bereit.
Like, I kind of have to go German. I don't know about you, because it's, like, rougher to me.
You know what's interesting about that? When I started listening to the French one, I'm like, man, he's really, like, leaning into, like, the straining of the voice and, like, how rough it is. And then the German one comes in and you're like, whoa. And I get it, because that is, that's there in Samson English language, but it feels a little bit more forced on both of these, the French and the German. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of going the opposite of what you're saying, right? Like I can see it as well. Like it's a little bit rougher on the German one, but I feel like they're both kind of trying to imitate a little bit, and I don't know if it works in either one. I kind of like the French one a little bit better, but I'm not thrilled with either of them.
Well, it's because Gideon Emery, who does the voice of both Fenris and Samson, fun facts, it just has such a unique tone of voice.
Mm-hmm.
That here, let's listen to the English version real quick.
You tough bastards. A day's march, hours of fighting, and still fierce as dragons.
Like, you could when you mention it, it sounds like they're imitating. Yeah, it kind of sounds like they're trying to be him, and it's just not working out that well. But
yeah, that's I mean, to think of it that way, right? All of these actors are in super rough positions. Yeah. Here's what this other actor did. Now do what they did, but in your language. In all honesty, that's actually one of the most insulting things to have to do. Like, it really is. Like, you're an actor. You want to make a decision about how to play the character. And it's like, well, you're not really an actor. You're kind of a language machine. So please do exactly what they did.
That would be really interesting, though, if they allowed the actors to, like, do whatever they wanted, and then you got more personality of it. Then you could, like, play Dragon Age Inquisition. It might even be, like, a whole new game with, like, a different feel to the characters.
Well, it sounds like that's what... it sounds like some of them, maybe that's what ended up happening by design or otherwise. But by design or otherwise, Harding, the same thing. And the approaches, I mentioned I played, the only time I've ever done this is Assassin's Creed Unity. The approaches felt different. Which is one of the reasons why I liked the French version better, because Arnaud, the main character, his English voice is fine. It's just a little precocious and younger, and sort of like and then his French voice is like sounds like a badass, not like drastically different, but like a little more toughness and a little more competency in the sound of his voice. So that one felt like that was true. So for this one, for Samson, I gotta go French if I'm gonna pick one.
Oh, boy. I gotta hear him again.
De vrais soldats. Des heures de marche et de combat, et toujours aussi féroces.
Ihr Bastarde.
Yeah.
I don't like either one. Like, when I hear that French one, I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like picking it, but I narrowly pick French.
Now that you mentioned that it sounds forced and that, like, the voice is forced, I think you changed my mind on that. Cause while I like the roughness of it, it does feel more forced. Like it is trying to do an impression. And now I can only imagine like Samson trying to act like a tough guy, and he just isn't.
German Samson really trying to ham it up.
Yeah, like it just doesn't. Like I imagine, like he. like how I would, like, oh guys, let's go, we're gonna go.
Which again, like, can you imagine like how unfair it is to some extent that that we're judging these actors? Because like, can you imagine if that German actor was trying not to do that, but like. Because occasionally you get these frustrating situations where maybe a director's going like, no, like gruffer, and so eventually he's just like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
because he can't get out of the booth. They want him to keep amping it up. So we do have to say it's not always the actor. Sometimes it's what's asked of them.
That's true. Yeah. So let's. I think Calpurnia's is interesting. Let's do Calpurnia. I'm gonna play Calpurnia's English because I know not everyone gets her. So let's try that.
I'm called Calpurnia. But when I partake of the well, names will be meaningless. Leave. This is not your time.
Je m'appelle Calpurnia. Mais lorsque je m'apaiserai à la source, les noms n'auront plus aucune importance. Partez. Vous n'avez rien à faire là.
Ich bin Calpurnia. Aber wenn ich von der Quelle getrunken habe, sind Namen bedeutungslos. Geht. Ihr habt hier nichts zu schaffen.
I'm going to throw this out there, and this is the first for the entire thing. I like the French one better than the English.
Really?
Calpurnia was born to be French. There is something about the regality of her voice and like the calm confidence, and I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if the cadence is drastically different, but I can just imagine her like. When I listen to those voices, I'm like, if there's one that's standing more upright with like chin up and all that, it's the French one.
I gotta hear Calpurnia in French again then.
Je m'appelle Calpurnia. Mais lorsque je m'apaiserai à la source, les noms n'auront plus aucune importance.
But compared to English?
I'm called Calpurnia. But when I partake of the well, names will be meaningless.
Oh man, I completely disagree with you. I like the English better.
Oh, dang, okay. I don't know. It's just something about the way she says the name Calpurnia in French. It's like she says it like that's a goddamn French name. Like she just says it with so much pride.
Here's the thing, though. I kind of like. Man, I'm like completely opposite because I kind of like the German one better than the French one.
Okay, so I mean, I think the German one actually sounds good too. They all do a great job. What about the German one? Really like?
I'm trying to here. Hold on.
Ich bin Calpurnia.
I think for me what it is that the French lady sounds exactly like a whole bunch of other French female voice actors in this game we've heard already. So I just appreciate the German Calpurnia sounding like no other German actress in the game.
That could be it, right? And maybe that's why I like it so much, because it sounds like a French female voice that I'm accustomed to. Mm-hmm. Which is maybe I do lean towards liking it if it's a little more generic. Like my ear is just more used to it. That could be it.
But we're not. We're trying to see which is better for Calpurnia, though. You know what I mean? So who?
I like the confidence of it. That French one to me, like I said, I like it even better than the English one. Oh man, I feel surprised that I'm saying that. This is the first time I picked any of them over the English ones, but I for this one I would say so.
I completely disagree with you. I love the English one. You can't take that away from me. But is it better than the German one? Ooh.
Aber wenn ich von der Quelle getrunken habe, sind Namen bedeutungslos.
I guess if we're going for confidence, the German does sound a little bit unsure to me, and I don't know what's giving me that vibe. I just like the grittiness of the voice texture more. So if we're really going for confidence, I guess I have to agree with you, but I kind of like the tone of voice for the German more.
I mean, we don't have to say it's confidence, but that's just for me it's just part of there's something about that. When I heard that French voice, I really liked it, but...
Well, I like Calpurnia, like in character to me is confident. She's like, I am going, like, no one else can make Tevinter better than me, and so I'm going to do it. And like when you tell her that Corypheus isn't trying to make Tevinter better, he's trying to make himself more powerful. She's like, well, fuck that asshole then. I'm gonna go now. Bye. Like she's
yeah.
Like she. Yeah.
So there's two different ways. Like I think I even said regality with the French one, but toughness is the German.
Oh, but I don't really hear that toughness. I hear a gruffness, if that makes sense, like in the tone of voice, but or the way it sounds, but not so much in the way the words are pronounced. I don't know. Oh, I'm kind of torn now. You know, I think I'm still just gonna go with German because I just like the way she sounds more. But like, yeah, I get what you're saying at least. But I overall like the English one a lot better. But interesting that you did find one that you thought was better in the voiceover rather than the English version.
Yeah.
All right. And then we already did Corypheus, didn't we? Did we pick a Corypheus? Yeah, we did. We both liked the French one.
Yeah.
Well, the only ones we didn't do, I also picked up the Hawks. So let's listen to the Hawks. Do you want to do male or female first?
Let's do female first.
Okay, let's do female first.
Vous voulez des conseils? Vous avez entendu parler de ce qui s'est passé à Kirkwall? Mon conseil, c'est de raser cette cité.
Ihr wollt meinen Rat? Habt ihr etwa nicht von Kirkwall gehört? Mein Rat hätte die Stadt fast zerstört.
Now, we've been talking about like personalities here. This particular hawk was an aggressive hawk, so I feel like we need to throw that out there.
Okay.
So, do you want to hear the English version to see how she said it, or you're good?
Yeah, why not?
You want my advice? Did you hear what happened to Kirkwall? My advice nearly tore that city apart.
I kind of like the French one. I don't know about you. Because, like, the German one sounds like an old woman to me.
a bit. Yeah, I'm kind of more inclined to the French one as well.
Okay. So let's do male then. This hawk was a sarcastic hawk.
Vous avez déjà fait s'effondrer une demi-montagne sur ce chien galeux. Je vois mal comment je pourrais me hisser à votre niveau.
Ihr habt den Bastard unter einem Berg begraben. Dagegen verblasst alles, was ich euch sagen könnte.
Definitely German for me.
I agree. That one sounds more like protagonist-y. So I can imagine playing that guy in Dragon Age 2 and not the French guy, you know?
Yeah, and I will say this is one where it's super hard to follow because the English language hawks are brilliant. Joe Wyatt,
really
who does female hawk, and oh man, what's the guy's name?
Nicholas Burton, I think.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, they both have such distinctive voices, and I have gone back and forth through the years of like, no, my favorite is female hawk, no male hawk, no female. Like they're both fantastic.
Yeah, I will defend to the grave that Jennifer Hale is the best shepherd, but I cannot pick a hawk. They're both really great.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
We also have the female Inquisitors, so those are kind of fun. Just kind of round up all the clips I got. So let's do the quote unquote English voice first, even though it's just high pitch and low pitch.
Tout ce que vous avez entendu est entièrement vrai.
Was genau wird es mich kosten?
And then this is the quote unquote American or low voice.
Tout ce que vous avez entendu est entièrement vrai.
Was genau wird es mich kosten?
Those all sound so similar, to be honest. Like, I just feel like they all sounded generic.
They really did. I really liked the lower German male voice, but like, I think the German female voices, they I don't know. Yeah, all four of them kind of sound so similar to each other. It's kind of hard to pick. They're all kind of bland. I don't know. Like I feel like I'm gonna have to just pick the English versions again because at least I can pick those out in a crowd. Like Suma Lee has a very unique voice compared to these other two low ones, and same thing with Alex. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, between the female Inquisitors, I mean, definitely the deeper one and probably German. Or, no, French. I don't know. It's all the same. It's a tie. They all lose.
Yeah, they all lose on that one. I'm just going to put a big fat X on that. So, all right. Give me, 10 seconds to, tally this up. So
this was fun.
Let me, I can just count out loud. So, we picked 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 French people that we liked versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 German. Ooh, I thought we were going to pick the German one.
Oh, dang, really? So French overall came in higher.
Yeah, French overall came in higher with more picks.
Did we both individually score the same? Like, did we both, if you count up our individual ones, did we both pick French or German?
I forgot we both just didn't pick Josie. Okay. I have the final total. So overall, you were split 50-50, 10 French people, 10 German. And
Snap.
I was the one who actually picked more French with 11 Frenchmen, 8 German, and then one I didn't pick or whatever. But yeah, so I guess maybe I do secretly like the French. When at least playing it in the game and listening to everyone in total, I ended up liking the German version more because I thought a lot of the French people sounded similar to each other. Mm-hmm. So maybe like if we started playing a whole game, while the French voices might fit the characters better, like they all sound so similar that's why I picked why at least the way it sounds, I liked the German one a lot more.
Yeah, I'm surprised at my own. I would have thought I would have come in like way French, and it turns out perfect neutrality for me.
There was also some so I had a very lengthy Twitter conversation with Sina, who played the German version. And she had, I'm just going to read out some of her tweets because she had something really interesting to say. She said, as for the German version, absolute antique choice of syntax / words. No one would talk like that. It's written language read out loud. So the relationships appear stiff, also due to the medieval form of you that they choose for the translation. People might have talked like that in medieval times, but even when they got close, they keep talking in formal style. Personally, they didn't transport the same feelings. And I think that is so important to how the game feels, you know?
That's really important, especially considering it's like, well, Bioware games are very much about relationships with the party members. Mm-hmm. To the idea that they would still use like formal, address people formally, that's a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah, like even if like maybe one character could get away with that, like maybe Cullen or something like that. Mm-hmm. But like especially Sarah using a formal version of you just sounds completely out of character, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Like Sarah should never use formal anything. Really, like a fair amount. Like I could see Varric very easily slipping into an informal version of stuff.
Agreed.
As well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a really good thing to know. Maybe French has that one as well. But despite us just listening to this, I feel like there's a lot of stuff we miss because we're not native speakers. And Sina, when I was talking with her, she was saying that she got her friends to play the game, but they were playing in German and they didn't really like it as much. Versus she played it originally in English and she just fell in love with like the cute accents and like the way things were said and stuff like that. So at least in Germany, like the lackluster VO probably lost some fans.
That's really true. And I mean, for game developers, you really wonder, like, that's a difficult thing to try and address, right? A global market and these different cultural nuances, and it's hard enough to get quality writing and acting in one language, much less every language.
Another thing I thought was interesting is that French and German, like, I was surprised that those are the only two VOs. Like, granted, I get that there's probably a large market, but I'm surprised there was no like Spanish or Russian or something like that. Like The Witcher 3, like I think gets in like French, German, Polish, Russian, and Brazilian, I think, and English. Mm-hmm. Like they have a lot. I like versus Bioware, which I think is a bigger company. They only had 2. Like that seems like a really strange choice to me.
Wait, so you're saying it's not like easily gettable, or they did not translate them?
They translated the subtitles, but not the voiceovers.
They did not do audio for that one. Yeah, that's
in versus The Witcher, where they have audio for all of those.
True. That's I guess that is sort of interesting. Although, in all honesty, I'm pretty sure Witcher 3 had a bigger budget than Inquisition. Overall, yeah, The Witcher is a real interesting one. When you talk about the challenges of translation, that's one that has probably the most successful game that is translated out of its original language. Although I think for Witcher 3, they developed them basically side by side, right? The Polish and the English version. I think by the time they got to 3, it was sort of more mainstay. But also the benefit that they have, I would assume, I don't know that this is true, but the Witcher novels had been translated, or at least the early ones had been translated by the time the game came out. And then as the games were coming out, the translations were getting even wider releases. And again, I don't know anything about this, but from what I've read, the English translations from the original Polish novels are quite good. So I don't know if some of the folks who did that for the books were involved in translating for the game, but yeah, that's a tough challenge, right? And it's a challenge that game companies have to be more and more aware of because, it is a global market for games.
I remember talking with Fussell, topping up missed opportunities. Maybe we have a part 2 talking about this with Fussell, because he would have been a great resource for this. Sorry, Fussell, if you're listening to this. Maybe we should have had you on here. But listening to him talk about it, like, he was really critical of some of the way things were translated. Like, I think he said, like, Blackwall was translated literally as, like, German for black and German wall or something like that. It was some name was translated literally, but other things weren't, and it was, like, really bothering him. Like, either translate things literally or, like, don't do all of them. You don't pick and choose some things. So,
I mean, in all honesty, Blackwall is not exactly a common name in English. It's not that common.
That's
right?
fair.
Like it's. I always thought it's like his name is Blackwall. Like I always thought that was weird. Even in English, I'm like, that's a stupid name. Is that his nickname? What do you mean? There's okay, and then you find out the whole story. It's like, oh, there was an actual person named Blackwall. Well, they had this guy killed somebody and then took their dumb name. Like, Jesus Christ.
Well, to be fair, that's the last name. That's I think an acceptable last name.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's the last name. But even so, I'm like, it's not. Yeah.
Do you random trivia? Do you know the original Blackwall's real name?
No.
It's Gordon.
Oh, interesting.
I'm wondering why I can't think of a time in Inquisition where they call Blackwall Gordon. They just always call him Blackwall. But whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, is there anything else with language you wanted to talk about?
No, I think this was a fun little sort of offbeat episode. I thought it was good, and if we can find ways to challenge ourselves with more of these episode types, we probably should.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll do this for the other games, mostly because maybe it's easier for Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Origins, but I honestly had to download and re-download the game like 3 different times just to get these voice packs.
That's a lot of work. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
It isn't great. If you want to learn how to do it yourself, go to my Reddit thread. It's so my username is Gillanon on Reddit. It's one that I don't post very often, so just look through my posts and there's me talking about it, and you can hear us talking about it. It's a big pain in the butt, but if you have decent internet and want to download the game a couple times, you can. I have it forever now. Like, I'll always have the German and the French versions. I don't know if I'll use them that often, but I have them. So, anyway.
I don't know why when you started saying if you wanted to learn, I thought you were going to go into like, if you wanted to learn more about how to learn French and German, you visit. I'm like, wait.
Visit our sponsor of the day.
Yeah.
God, I'd love to be sponsored. Hey, shout out. So, so my husband likes learning German and stuff like that. He was listening to the voiceover for the German. He was really surprised at how clear they were sounding, but like in a negative way. He said it sounded like people were like over pronouncing things to him. I don't know if that's like he's a non-native speaker. I don't know if like in Germany it's different, but like he said it reminded him a lot of like learning German tapes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that could be it. And that could just be, again, like the nature of how they approached it. Like, we just want you to say the words.
Another thing, why didn't they get Liliana's original voice actors to do the French? Because, like, she's French. She can speak French. Why not just get the same person?
Money. It's got to be money.
I guess.
Right? Her. If you get her to do the French, you pay her twice as much. If you get someone else to do the French, you're probably paying them half of what she gets for the same time.
I didn't even think about pay. Yeah, you do think these French and German voice actors, they don't get paid as much?
No, because they're not as good. all due respect to them. Like, they're not as good, and they're also not top billed, right? Like, you know that you are doing localization for a game that might sell in your region. but like you're not the actor or the actress. You're coming in after them to dub essentially.
That's a good point, because I've honestly tried to find a name listing for the cast, and I can't find these people names anywhere. Maybe I'm Googling it in English, and that's my flaw. But like, I've had a hard time trying to figure out what the names of these voice actors are.
Could be, yeah. The only person is just Calpurnia. She needs to ask for a raise. whoever that French Calpurnia was, he's just like, look, bitches, give me that money, all right? That one guy from that one Split the Veil podcast said I'm better than the English one.
And they go, who?
Who is this asshole?
I can't even think of a stereotypical German accent. Like what? The only German I really grew up with was Wolfenstein, which are Nazi phrases, and that's probably not a good thing to quote on the podcast.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. This has been Split the Veil. We gotta go.
What if we actually ended it there? Do you think we can do that? Okay, no. Now that you want to listen to our Nazi podcast, I guess. Oh, God. I'm Caitie. If you want to hear more from me, I'm on Ghildirthalen on YouTube and Gillanon on Reddit, and that's about it. Where can they find you, Jordan?
You know what's going to happen if one of us ever runs for city council 20 years from now?
This? Yeah. Fucking this.
People can find me on Twitter under @TheExaltedMarch, Instagram @TheExaltedMarch, and of course on YouTube under The Exalted March.
You could probably just say all three of those under The Exalted March.
Yeah, I just like saying it 3 times.
That's
fun.
Okay, that's fine. All right, with that, guys, stress roll.